Alright, Gary, first off, I kind of want to stick by what I said in my last video, that even religious people today, most theists, are secular in that they keep their religion confined to their private lives. And for the most part, our laws are secular as well. You know, abortion is legal in this country for now, and euthanasia, you know, several states have legalized it, and I think eventually it will be legalized in most states. But these issues, abortion and assisted suicide, they're not overtly theological. I think they're complicated moral issues that all human beings have opinions about. And, you know, you could have a non-religious person who's pro-life. You could have a non-religious person who thinks assisted suicide is not always a good idea. So in that sense, I don't know that these controversies over these laws like this that you think are silly are necessarily because of religion. They're just because human beings have intricate ways of coming to understand what is good and what is bad. And sometimes it has to do with God and religion, and sometimes it just has to do with what they perceive to be a good human life. So putting that aside, I think you raised a good point that flourishing is in a sense subjective, in that some human beings may feel happy and fulfilled, but meanwhile they're, you know, exploiting other people, and they're driving their SUVs, and they're consuming more resources than they really need to. And so I think what we have to do is make a distinction between subjective happiness and objective human flourishing. And the way I think we can do this is by trying to integrate the true, the good, and the beautiful. Now, I may have made it seem like I didn't think truth was that important in my last video, but it is important. It's just not more important than the good and the beautiful. I think all three need to be integrated in order for us to have an objective sense of human flourishing. In other words, we have to use science, which tells us what the truth is, to understand how best to live within this ecosystem and how best to live sustainably within it. Knowing that, we have to derive good ways of being human in such an environment. And that requires a sense of community, a sense of connection with others and with society that we don't really have anymore these days. Everybody's very alienated, and everybody says that the whole system is fucked up and I want to pull myself out of it and do my own thing, which isn't possible because, you know, even the hermit that lives up on in a mountain shack is still attached to his society, in the sense that, you know, he was born into it, his parents raised him, gave him his conception of what it means to be human. No amount of space could ever separate us from society. We're irrevocably embedded in it, and so we have to find a way to become connected again with it. You know, I can't offer a step-by-step plan, but the fact that it needs to occur, I think, is something that we can all agree on. And then there's the beautiful, which, knowing the truth of how we have to live sustainably in this ecosystem, and knowing that we need to do it by forming some sense of community and morality with others. In order to really flourish, we also need to have a sense of beauty within this picture. So whatever we construct based on the truth and the goodness that I've already described should also be beautiful. Otherwise, human beings won't find meaning in it. So to objectively flourish, I think human beings need to integrate these three things: the truth, goodness, and beauty, into some coherent whole, some worldview that allows each of those three spheres to have some sort of expression. And so far, I mean, we're making a lot of progress in the truth domain because science is forging ahead as fast as it's ever been before. But we seem to be going backwards as far as forming a community and establishing a sense of the good. And beauty, you know, what is the state of art these days? It's kind of hard to say. We're certainly exploring new mediums of expression, such as, you know, YouTube. But it's too soon to tell, really. But hopefully we find new ways to find beauty in the world. But oh, I wanted to touch on that neurocardiology thing. You know, it's a pretty new field, but I wouldn't discount the idea offhand that the heart is involved in cognition, or at least in emotion, which is, you know, a part of cognition. There's a lot of studies going on to research this phenomenon, and actually most of them so far have given some surprising results that lead us to believe, at least so far, that the heart is actually implicated in how we think and feel about the world. And you know, what makes us think that it's all up here in the brain anyways? It's, you know, science has been focusing on the brain to find consciousness for the last couple hundred years, but that doesn't mean that it's only up here. You know, whatever consciousness is, it could arise because of the whole body interacting in concert, not necessarily just what the neurons in this particular part of the body are doing. I don't think that's an absurd supposition at all. So I'll leave it at that. Thanks for listening.